is my review of Attack on Titan Chapter 121, Future Memories. And I know I don't usually or have ever covered Attack on Titan, but I just, there was just so much I wanted to say after reading this chapter. I just couldn't hold it back. So I'm doing a review this month. I think we're in the end game. I'm pretty sure every chapter moving forward is going to be freaking insane, amazing, and just mind-blowing. So I'm probably going to keep reviewing it going forward. But let's just get into this. So as we learned last week, or last month, last chapter, whatever, Grisha never brainwashed Eren. I mean, Zeke's been this whole thing like, oh, you have been brainwashed by our father. I shall free you, brother. But that's not the case. That has never been the case. With Zeke, Grisha was cruel, heartless, attempting to force his ideology on his son. But with Eren, he didn't want to make the same mistakes. He learned, and so he raised his kid to be whoever he wanted to be. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, his kid wanted to be him. His kid was Eren, and Eren wanted to be Eren, so problematic. As he says, if other people are going to steal my freedom, then I'm going to steal theirs. And that's what led him to murder a bunch of people when he was just a little kid. I mean, I still remember, like, early on, saw reviews and reaction videos where people saw this happen and then saw him turn into a Titan, like, oh, that's probably why he killed all those people. It was his Titan powers, but that's not the case. This is before he became a Titan, and his father never installed any real ideology into him, so this was Eren. This is who he was. He was willing to kill, willing to fight, willing to die for what he believed was right. That is who he has been. That is always who he has been. As Eren tells Zeke, you were looking for a slave, a brainwashed little brother with no real thoughts in his head that were his own, but if that's not who's here, the only one here who is a slave to his father is you. I mean, it is so utterly ridiculously true. Yeah, Eren was trying to, find the secrets his father left behind, but that was never about his father, never about doing what his father wanted him to do. It was about him getting the answers he needed to help him fight better, help him learn the truth about the world, and learn who the freak he had to kill in order to get his freedom back. And then there's just this one little moment, just half a page, but I think it's so critically important, as Eren distractedly looks down at himself, wrapping the scarf around Mikasa, and it just, god damn, I mean, the look in his eyes is the softest he's looked in like 3 to 4, 20 chapters, and I'm just really hoping this still means he does care for her, he does worry about her, and he wants, what's best for her, even if that means him dying. And god, just poor, innocent, sweet Zeke. I mean, he even goes on to say, Eren, I could just carry out the whole euthanasia plan anytime I wanted. Would not be any trouble at all. I don't need you, but I'm not going to abandon you. I want to save you, little brother. And no, Zeke, you are wrong. You are so very wrong. It is actually comical here. And so then we get to the scene that basically started this entire series of events. Grisha picks up the key and says, when I return, I will show you what's in the basement. I will show you what I've been hiding. But he's not saying that to little Eren. He's saying that to big Eren. That even if you look back at the original panel, you could see he wasn't looking in Eren's direction. He was looking away. He was looking at his older son. He could see him. He was aware that he was there watching him this entire time. And yet Zeke still seems somewhat oblivious to this fact, the truth of the world. Then we go to the true catastrophe of it all. Grisha makes his way back to the royal chamber and talks to the King of the Walls, demanding, begging, pleading him to stop the attacking Titans. But he says no. He says that they must atone for their sins that they have committed. And essentially, Frida is Zeke, more or less. Even though she looks pretty identical to Eren, I had kind of a hard time telling them apart. Her belief, her philosophy is essentially that the power they wielded was too horrible, too destructive, too awful, and that their entire species has been stained by sins, and the only way to stop it is for them just to simply give up, die, let the foreigners come in and kill them so that the world can finally know peace, that they will not have to kill ever again. And the absolute rage that Eren feels upon hearing all of this is... Jesus Christ. Even Grisha can feel it. Grisha's 10 years in the past, and even he can feel Eren's rage as he stands behind him. And this is where things get absolutely freaking insane, and I love it. I love it! Frida, or more specifically the first King of the Walls, tries to explain that even if he takes the power of the Founding Titan, he can't use it, but Grisha already knows that. And this shocks Frida. She's like, how could you know that? And then he explains, the Attack Titan has its own trait, its own ability. For generations and generations, the Attack Titan has refused to listen to anyone. It's followed its own path. It's done its own thing, and no one's quite understood why, but it's because the Attack Titan knew this was going to happen. He knew all of this would happen. He's watched it every step of the way, past, future, and present, and this is the ultimate path, the ultimate goal that has been reached by... Jesus Christ, the Attack Titan can see the freaking future. The Attack Titan can see the freaking future. I mean, this shouldn't be too much of a surprise. The owl even said a while back, last thing he said to Grisha was, you need to do this to protect Arma. You need to do this to protect Armin and Mikasa. And he's like, oh, I wonder where that memory came from. Must be a past user, or maybe something else. That's what this all has been leading to. The Attack Titan sees the future. So, in a sense, Zeke was literally completely backwards. He assumed that Eren was being brainwashed and manipulated by his father, but the truth was, Eren was the one who brainwashed and manipulated his father. Eren wasn't being manipulated, he was the manipulator. He wasn't manipulating his father. Eren manipulated his own father into doing the crimes that Eren's been blamed for. Jesus freaking Christ, I love it! Oh my god. So, yeah, then, Grisha decides the whole, I'm gonna murder the royal family thing, only he can't do it. Like, at all. As he says, he's a doctor who saves people, and Zeke is just so utterly confused by all this. Like, I don't understand. Grisha killed him, that's a fact. I know it happened. How could the past be different? And so Eren stands up, and he asks him, Father, have you forgotten what happened? Have you forgotten what happened to your sister? For your comrades, for Dina. We need to keep moving forward. We need to avenge them. For Kruger, even if we die. Even after we die. This is the story that you started, right, Dad? So yes, Eren quite literally was the one that killed the entire royal family. Not his... I mean, you could still say his father pulled the trigger, and that's fair, but Eren was the one that convinced him to do it, and that is just a twist I absolutely love. I mean, I always thought it was weird how little they showed of the royal family being murdered. It was like a critically important part, and yet so much of it was just shown in little fragments. Even in the anime, it was just like flash, flash, flash. Oh, he threatened them. Oh, he's a Titan. Oh, he killed them. But what I think is also fascinating, maybe not as fascinating as the fact that Eren was the one that killed the freaking royal family, but was the fact that Frida's entire family, even the children, were like, kill him, he must be destroyed. Frida, protect everyone. That man cannot be allowed to live. And yet, she did nothing. She basically just stood there until he actually fully transformed into a Titan. I'm wondering if the First King's order of pacifism is affecting her even now. It's keeping her from being able to kill. I mean, blanking on his name, but Historia's father, Rod Reese, thank you. Historia's father actually said, Frida had the more powerful Titan, but Grisha was more experienced, was able to beat her. But that's not the case. Grisha used this Titan once. One single time. To get from the shore to the inner walls. And that's it. Grisha had literally no combat experience whatsoever. I think he actually won because Frida literally couldn't fight because of the will of the First King. The whole, you will not fight anymore thing. When you think back, when Rod Reese's brother had the power of the Titan, he had Kenny crushed in his hand, but he couldn't finish him off. He didn't do the finishing blow. He spared his life even then. Even when he probably knew Kenny was planning on betraying him sooner or later. So anyway, moving back, Grisha killed a bunch of people and children. And honestly, I think this might be why he ended up passing on the power of a Titan to Eren right then and there. I don't think he was running out of time quite yet. Was he? No, he'd still a few years left. I think he just literally couldn't handle the guilt anymore. I think all of this just weighs heavily on his soul. He needed death to claim him right then and there. And oh my god. Just as he's on the ground crying, he screams out, "Eren! I killed the Reese family! Is this okay? Are you happy with this? Will Eldia be saved? Why won't you show me everything? The wall being destroyed, the Dale be destroyed. Is Clara safe? Was there really no other way?" And he just realized here, he has already said Eren manipulated his father, but he did more than that. He showed him memories, specific memories, that convinced him this was the only way, that convinced him there was no other solution. He didn't even show him the fact that his own wife was definitely be killed by his ex-wife. Or ex-wife? Guess they didn't get divorced. So why his one wife killed his other wife. And just Jesus Christ. Eren literally just destroyed his father here. And I still just can't believe it. I mean, so much of the series has been Eren complaining about his father, hiding things and all this, but it was never his father. It was all Eren the entire time. And so then he finally turns to Zeke, and he tells him, "Your wish won't come true. The one that will come true is Eren's." Grisha has seen enough of the future to know that Zeke is going to lose. He's even seen things that have not yet happened for Zeke and Eren, but he knows that they will happen. And so we finally get some closure between the two, father and son. He apologizes for being a terrible father, for making him suffer, and tells him that he loves him. And then, at that last moment, he tells him, "Please, stop Eren." Oh my god. So yeah, even at this moment, Grisha still does not trust his son. And so we're essentially in kind of a time paradox here, because it was Eren right here and now going into the past that made this future come true. Yeah, that's kind of confusing. I mean, then you could argue, well, then if Eren hadn't gone back in time to make his father kill the royal family, then this wouldn't have happened. And therefore, he'd have no reason to go back in time to make his father kill the royal family to make sure this happened. Very confusing, but I kind of see it working out. The best way I can figure this happening is that the first time this all happened, before any of this time travel shenanigans, at a certain point, the Attack Titan and the royal family managed to meet. They saw the destructive future that came about, and they said, "Okay, no good. Let's go tell our past selves or the people who came before us, let's do something differently." And then that kept happening over and over again until we're finally on this path. This one path that is the ultimate path, the only one that leads to a happy ending. That's the best way I can understand it, but let me know what you think in the comments down below. What's with the time paradox and how can it be fixed? But for right now at least, the reason Eren knew he had to go back in time and do this is because 4 years ago, when he kissed the Queen's hand, he saw his own memories from the future. This was happening currently, and what happens after this. So he knows exactly what's going to happen, and he's essentially been following the script his future self left for him, which is just absolutely freaking insane. I think it also explains kind of why he laughed when Sasha died, because he knew that it would happen as part of what he had planned, and he felt like, useless because of it. Like, she died because of him, and he could have prevented it, but then that would have caused other problems down the road, so he knew it had to happen, and just a sad laughter at that. So, Zeke's had about enough Eren shit here, and he's like, "Screw it, I'm not saving you anymore. Ymir! take away from all the subjects of Ymir their ability to reproduce. And, yeah, so since Eren's still in chains, he's basically helpless, and Zeke even taunts him, saying, you didn't see the entire future. You didn't know you couldn't use the Founder's powers here. You're still helpless. And Eren responds to this by literally pulling his freaking hands out of the cuffs. Literally detaching his own thumb and sending it flying. Like, I know he has, regeneration, both his thumbs, actually. 2 cuffs. Like, I know he has regeneration abilities and whatnot, but that is freaking painful. I mean, I can't even begin to imagine the just agony that would involve. And yet after that, Eren just keeps running towards Ymir, trying to stop her. But as Zeke explains, no one has ever been able to stop Ymir once she moves. Also, Ymir has her eyes closed and asleep or dead or something. Oh boy. So yeah, that was an insane freaking chapter. What's gonna happen next? I have absolutely no idea. I'm guessing Eren could eat somebody. I mean, if in his human form he bit out the spinal fluid of the founder Ymir and he could have her powers, or if he bit out the spinal fluid of Zeke, he'd get his powers. That'd be interesting, maybe. But even then, what is his ultimate goal? What is it he's building towards? If I had to guess, I'd say the reason Grisha told Zeke to stop Eren isn't because Eren's gonna kill a shit ton of people. It's because Eren is doing something horrible to himself. Like, he's gonna take in the power of all the Titans at once and essentially become a god and essentially allow his own death or essentially have to suffer for all of eternity. Essentially become Ymir, a slave to her own people in order to bring about peace. I also had kind of a crazy-ass, wild, super impossible conspiracy theory I'd just like to throw out there for a second. If Eren can affect the past users, past memories, what if he gave all of his memories and emotions and essentially his mind to a past version of himself? Like, what if the day he started military training, he was suddenly filled with all his current self, his current mind as he is right now? I mean, that'd be, again, we'd ruin, so much plot development, so much character development, literally everything, but it'd be interesting. Then he could go talk to, Reiner, Bertold, Annie, and even Ymir and just say, hey, yeah, I know you're Titans, I'm a Titan too, I've seen the future, your plan doesn't work, I think we should, team up. I mean, it would be possible for him to essentially get 8 out of the 9 Titans on his side, and with very little effort. I mean, Zeke, he could certainly win over fairly easily. The Hauling Titan, I forget what you call it exactly, would be a little tricky, but possible. And then the Warhammer Titan, no idea about that one, but Eren could have the entire team on his side pretty easily. I think that'd be interesting. Or maybe just eat all 4 of them right there, and then he'd be 6 of the Titans at once. God, I can't even imagine how much power that would involve. I mean, that was extreme. That also possibly just, goes back to 4 or 5 years and is able to undo all the destruction he did, save Sasha's life. Maybe that's why he left. He's like, oh, I'll have to remember to save her next time around. Hell, for all I know, he could have gone through this a dozen times over already. I mean, he's been unusually calm for everything. It could be just because he saw all the memories, but it could be because, yeah, I've done this already. I've lived through all this. I'm not too worried. Again, we lose a lot of plot development, but it'd still be pretty interesting. So yeah, I think that before the series is over, Eren's definitely become a god. He's going to find a way to obtain all the powers of Ymir for himself, power of all the Titans. Hell, maybe even be able to, turn everyone who's a Titan back into a human. That'd be interesting. I'm pretty sure that would also mean all the walls around his city would collapse, which, yeah, I really think that needs to happen. I think if the walls just come down, it'd be good, metaphorical for them finally attaining the freedom they want. But really, it's actually kind of interesting knowing that next chapter, they need to continue the storyline. They won't flash over to Mikasa and Armin doing their thing, talking about Eren, because time's literally frozen for them. So they literally need to start answering questions. What is Ymir? What is the source of Earth and life that she discovered all those years ago? What is she planning? Why is her eyes closed? Can Eren free her? Can Eren become a god? All those questions I want answered next month. Probably won't be. Probably just be 30 pages of Eren running after her, seeing past users, but that'd be pretty cool still. I mean, Zeke seems to have essentially taken the power of the Founding Titan away from Eren, so I'm really not sure what he's going to end up doing. Then again, though, when he touched a member of the royal family, he was able to boost his powers significantly, so he may be able to do that when he touches Ymir. Maybe his future vision will become so clear he knows exactly what he needs to do, or, like I said, maybe he'll just be able to go back in time. Honestly not sure, but please let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed my Attack on Titan review, leave a comment, subscribe, like the video. Be really appreciated, and definitely encourage me more to do another video of this next month. Though honestly, I probably will anyway. I'm just super excited to see how this all ends. But until then, peace!